Yay! Last night, our Game of the Year episode of Screenplay went to air, and in it we gave away awards for lots of different games, including Game of the Year.
That's right. So we gave awards in a bunch of categories, and there was one winner for every category, obviously, which we chose as a group. But we thought we would go through those categories with our personal choices and some more that didn't fit in the show and stuff. So it's basically just like our Game of the Year chat.
Yeah,
What's
for sure.
got Miles here?
How many games have you played this year, roughly?
We're going to preface this one. Miles has played 4 games in 2017.
It's very exciting. Do you think these 4 games will be listed amongst these categories?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So Miles is also just going to be like generally asking questions, or
I have a lot of questions.
yeah, Miles has a lot of questions. So without further ado, let's jump in to the first award, which was Best Visual Design, which as a show we gave to Cuphead. As people,
I do agree with Cuphead, but I think in the interest of offering something a little bit different, I'd also like to throw in Horizon Zero Dawn. I thought it was incredible. And at PAX this year, I don't know if you saw it, but they had put up a whole gallery of photographs that people had taken using the in-game photography tool.
that photography tool was sick.
It was amazing, and like it actually brought a whole new dimension to the detail and design of that whole game world, and I thought it was just beautiful.
My choice would be Cuphead as well. I just think I love games that take a choice and really just stick with it, and which is the reason that my really close runner-up for that was Persona 5, because it was just like, we want to do like sexy Japanese jazz comic book thing. A game that just really commits to start, even the menus were just like soaking and oozing with Japanese sex jazz. So did you play anything, Miles, with Japanese sex jazz? What are the 4 games you actually played this year?
The four games I played this year were Cold War World 2, Destiny 2, FIFA 18, and PUBG.
And did any of those have awesome style?
They were all sans sex Japanese jazz.
So no.
No, not even close.
I'd give it to Destiny.
Well, that was my pick. Destiny had the most blisteringly cool visual style I've seen in a game since Destiny 1.
Particularly in the threads.
Oh!
That whole game is threads.
The whole game. But for me, I mean, the threads and the characters' weapon design all really cool. But it was the actual worlds you inhabit, and particularly story mode. Like every story mission was beautiful, beautiful. I loved them so much. I had such a good time playing the game, apart from actually playing that game.
All right, next category was Best Character, which on the show we gave to Senua from Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that this was definitely. I mean,
You pretty much like held us in headlocks and were like, pick her.
there was no other choice for this. I'm sorry, I know you're going to say something else,
I am.
but there was no other choice for this. She was such a unique and interesting character. No one had created a character, so uniquely tormented by, her own kind of inner demons. And then, they used a really unique method of motion capture as well for that as well, which was just so awesome. And seeing her perform it live was amazing. Melina Jurgens, I think, is just incredible. And what a find.
Yeah, amazing.
She was their video diary camera person and was just sitting in one day, and they were like, why don't we just map your face and see how this goes? And then she just was Senua after that.
It's amazing. And it really was a game built around a character, like 100%, more so than most other video games. My pick was Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. So if you haven't played Doki Doki Literature Club, I don't want to spoil it for you, but Monica is a fucking nutbag. And it is, I mean, that is a character. She's my favorite character of the year because no other character got inside my bones like that and truly scared the shit out of me, pretty much. So Monica is my pick for character of the year.
There was a part of me that was afraid that my PC was possessed after playing that game.
She has powers, and we should not judge them. Miles?
Do I want to play this game?
You do, you
I
really
think I
do.
Just don't play it alone.
Can't help that. Because none of the games I played this year had characters of any description in them. They're all kind of cardboard cutouts of people. I'm going to ask questions about Senna, because for me in games, mental health is never really dealt with in a very respectful way, or it's usually kind of facetious, or it's really zany and cartoony. What made Senna so, what made it so important?
I think just because it was inherently part of who she was. And I think the moral of the story was it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, that she kind of had this aspect of her personality that was, I suppose, a little bit unstable. And I think also just the way that the voices that she heard were so reactive and would affect the way you played the game. So sometimes they would be trying to guide you in the wrong way, or they'd be kind of berating you for doing poorly or saying that you were going to die, just give up. And other times they'd be egging you on. It was just really quite an interesting way to play a game. And you really felt like the voices were in your head after a while.
I've got an answer now. My character of the year was that bloke in FIFA 18 in the story thing.
Yeah.
He was great.
Of course, that's a character. That's a total character. Alex is character of the year. Alex Hunter, mate. Alex Hunter. Okay, next category. Best multiplayer. Miles, you do have opinions about this one.
I do have many hours lost to the depths of multiplayer. It's PUBG, man. I mean, as that was what I said in the show, I just think they really did, again, for a game that's completely unfinished, unpolished, unfinished, the matchmaking system works, it's very quick, nasty to get into games. The game itself is very fun, it's very, entry-level gameplay is easily accessible. If you want to be amazing at it, like some people are, you can devote the time to it. And I think very few games give you such a breadth of play that PUBG has. COD World War II is great. I can't knock that so far. Initially, really bad bugs and stuff and whatnot. But again, like Destiny is a steaming pile of shit. But otherwise, yeah, PUBG was just the best.
Do you feel like you have a better chance of winning if you are solo, duo, or like in a squad of like 3 or 4?
The best thing about this game, Steph, is those things don't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if you're alone, it doesn't matter if you're with 3 players who are really, really good, because the nature of the game, shit happens.
It's so
as we know, like we've had games where we've gone to like 13th, and we're like, this is great. We've got good guns, we've got the high ground, there's fog, we're sweet, and then some piece of trash comes out of nowhere and shoots us both in the back, and you're like, ah, and I'm like, oh my god, but I'm like, insert coin, try again, let's go. Like, and that's just the way the game plays, and I think that adds to the infinite replayability that it does have. And now with new maps, more weapons, more stuff, sky's the limit.
So Pub was the pick for the show as well. Is Pub your pick too? Because you played a stack.
Yes, I mean, I think objectively there's no denying that it wins, but I just want to throw Divinity Original Sin 2 in there as well, because for me, it's the multiplayer experience that I look forward to the most, because I just really love teaming up with my friends in that game, and like the amount of discussions we have around how we're going to tackle the next part of the game, or if we get ambushed, how we're going to deal with it, and trying to negotiate and find secret hidden areas and stuff like that. As a multiplayer experience, it's just, yeah, I just love it so much. So
there's a lot to be said about a cooperative multiplayer experience as opposed to a competitive one. Steph, in your group, do you have a Leroy Jenkins? Who's the person who, when all the best laid plans are out,
it's you.
You go.
It's totally
it's
me.
You ran in and fucked that lizard against the best advice of everyone.
No,
the rest of your party.
You were match made with that lizard, weren't you?
That's not true. They told me that, because a lot of them have played the game before.
Yeah.
None of them have finished it, but they were like, "Hey, there's this guy in a tavern. You should go talk to him and have a sexy night with someone." And the only option is to have a sexy night with a lizard.
There you go.
You can't say no. Seems mental.
No. You can say no, but like there's no other like.
You can't say yes to
option.
a human or a squirrel.
You don't get to pick and choose. Not that kind of brothel.
So my pick for best multiplayer, I'm going to be a bit contrarian here, but you did say that there's a lot to be said for cooperative as opposed to competitive. Mine's both cooperative and competitive. It's Fortnite, not PUBG, and specifically the 50v50 mode, which only came out like a week ago.
I haven't played it yet.
And it ends in a week. I'm sure they'll end up sticking around and doing tests with these different game modes. But the thing is that Fortnite always had the base building, right, that makes it different from PUB. It's a little more arcadey shooter. This mode is a real genuine change to what that Battle Royale feature is, because it's 50v50. So suddenly you are not scavenging against everyone. You are as part of this big team. The beautiful thing about it though is as that circle shrinks and you all get put in an area, suddenly when you're playing just the 1 versus 100 mode, you'll build like a small square in which you like hide. That's about the extent of the construction that you do, maybe some stairs. In this 50v50, as it gets smaller, suddenly you and 30 other people are building this enormous base that just evolves so quickly. Like, somehow we all figure out each other's minds of like, okay, this town in the retail area, this is exactly where we're gonna make our last stand. And in 2 minutes, this enormous base has erupted there. And it's like, it's siege warfare as opposed to like sort of run and gun shooter stuff. And it's very different, it's very cool.
I like that because I feel like there's just not enough of an opportunity to make use of the base building in the standard battle
There's not enough time in that.
Yeah,
There's
there are a few people that will do it, but like other than that, I'm just like, I'm not gonna waste time, I'm a build a little wall around myself, but then I'm just making myself a target. It's just like, oh, I wonder if someone's hiding in that little box over there.
Yeah, you build some forts and you build some stairs, and that's about it. But yeah, this whole enormous castle thing is a very new thing, which is super cool.
Does anybody remember what Fortnite originally was as a game?
I don't
Is
think
that
Fortnite
so
knew what it
relevant
was
now?
Like
originally.
the
as a game.
PvE.
Yeah, like when you killed zombies and stuff. Like, where's that
I know,
gone?
it's so strange. It's so strange. Okay, cool. Next one, award for best game mechanic. The show gave this to Cappy from Super Mario. Stephanie?
For me, okay, this is a bit of a spoiler for Doki Doki Literature Club, so I'm gonna put up my hand while I talk about it, and you can block your ears, and then when I put my hand down, then you can unblock your ears if you don't want the spoilers. So for me, it's the game mechanic of like going and deleting character files, you know, and deleting the central character of the game, and then also, at one point, the mechanic of her recognizing, like there was something coded into the game that recognized that I was streaming it.
Yeah.
So that she said, oh, I'm being recorded right now. I can't read your comments, but I see you all there. And she's like, hi guys. Like that, all that shit was crazy. I felt like my computer was possessed and I've never played anything like it. It was freaking terrifying.
This is why Monica is such an amazing character. And because, yeah, that deleting character thing is like, if you don't do it, you get to this part where she's talking to you and you're in this like weird universe hell purgatory state, and the game will not continue until you go into the game files and delete it. Like, you can't continue. You need to figure that out by yourself. It's fantastic.
It's absolutely nuts. Okay.
My pick would be Cappy from Mario. I just think that it's... I said it on the show, I think the biggest compliment I can give it is I can't imagine what the next Mario game will be without that as a mechanic, because it now feels like a core part of Mario. It just feels like if I can't do that with his hat from now on, Mario feels lacking. I thought it was amazing.
It's amazing to see a game can reinvent itself after 30-something years.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
just
amazing they can do
continue.
that.
Yeah.
So one of the 4 games I played this year was FIFA 18, and my favourite gameplay mechanic in that was the trainer that turned me from an absolute shitter into just an average shitter in about 20 minutes. So
Nice.
thank you
Good
to
stuff.
FIFA 18's trainer for that.
Thank you very much, FIFA 18. I mean, I would also throw in the circling pub,
That's
maybe.
fine. That's not even new, man. It's not even new.
Okay, so next one, worst game trend of 2017. We gave it to loot boxes. I'm giving it to loot boxes, and a special mention to devs who withhold and lie to us, specifically Destiny.
Yeah, it was definitely loot boxes. I would say also the other thing that just annoys me a lot, and it is not really a trend of specifically this year, but particularly a lot of mobile games, is any game that makes you wait a specific amount of time before you can play it again or collect a certain resource.
Timeout stuff, yep.
Yeah, timeout stuff is heaps annoying. I hate that.
I don't play enough games to have an opinion. No, my
3 of your 4 games had loot boxes.
It's multiplayer. It's people's money.
He doesn't. Wait, he's not an advocate for loot boxes. But
At all, by any stretch of the imagination.
But
because
you don't have such venom
No,
for them.
I tend to just ignore them because they offer 0 gameplay bonuses whatsoever, unless it's Battlefront 2, which is literally like the same. Anyway, loot boxes for me, not so much, but we found this in Destiny. We had a little whinge about this when we played Destiny, when you find like the boss, and they give you a little tease of the boss, and then they teleport you away,
Oh, yeah.
or some shit happens like, oh, I've lost all my abilities, or like, I have to go back to the start of the game now, level 1. I just don't find that very fun. I don't think that offers anything to a game whatsoever. I think that just annoys you. It's the blue balls equivalent of video gaming experiences.
We should definitely keep playing Destiny, because that was pretty fun. The biggest disappointment of 2017. So the show gave this one to Mass Effect Andromeda. There are a lot of disappointments this year. I have to agree with the Mass Effect one. I just feel like expectations v reality was so enormous. I played the first 3 to 4 hours of that, and as I was playing, I was just going, this... Not only does this not feel like Mass Effect, this has not hooked me as a game. Like, I have not clicked with the mechanics and the controls, I've not been drawn in by the story, I hate these characters. This feels like a cheap knockoff of something that I truly love, because Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. It was just... It was so disappointing that I actually forgot this game came out until I think Pete mentioned it as a contender for the most disappointing game. And I was just like, oh, holy shit, that game came out this year.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I think what's particularly disappointing and strange about this is usually when you have like a big AAA publisher like BioWare, who is known for a certain standard, to usually when they bring out a game that is disappointing, it visually looks amazing, but then the actual gameplay or the mission design or
Kinda
level
hollow.
design is kind of hollow. In this, I didn't play a lot of it, but I understand that the mission design wasn't great.
Yeah.
but it still didn't even look good.
Yeah.
Like, how did they manage to get those character models so wrong?
And it's
when you're at that level.
And it's tough in that because I don't necessarily like criticizing games because it's like, oh, you didn't make the faces look as good as they. But in a game that is all about conversations and relationships and buying into the emotion of these characters, when the emotions on the face are not matching the words coming out of their mouth, there's like just this disconnect where you go, I can't actually invest in you as a person.
Okay, so on the count of 3, give me your best Mass Effect Andromeda face.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, go. Perfect.
Good. Miles, you were disappointed by a bunch of shooters you said this year.
A bunch of shooters, but actually to go back to Mass Effect Andromeda, because I played Mass Effect 2, and that was easily like the most...
Pile on a little bit more.
No! You're not out of the woods yet, EA. Mass Effect 2 had the most memorable endgame possible because of the emotional ties and everything. You've literally been spending the whole game building. And having not touched Mass Effect Andromeda, on good advice from some close friends, and I'm really glad I didn't, it just sounds immensely disappointing, so I'm going to throw my little hat in the pile there as well.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so moving on now to categories that didn't even make it into the show. There's some extra ones. So this one is the best game that no one else is talking about. Steph, what's your choice for this one?
I find it difficult to find, because I feel like if a game is awesome, it's very rare that people aren't talking about it.
Yeah, okay.
I think the closest one that I could suggest would be Doki Doki Literature Club, because even though there's a lot of buzz about it right now, there's quite a few people that I've mentioned it to and they're like, what is that? And for me, it is a game that I would absolutely not have played
100%.
had you not told me about it and described the kinds of things that it contained, because I'm just not into sort of Japanese visual novels or anything remotely similar.
Yeah.
And to me, it just looked like a dating sim.
And that was the joy of it.
That's what
that
it
it
wants
committed
you to
so
think.
well.
You did demand that we all play it. You were like,
did.
give it 3 hours
And I'm
it'll
so
change your
glad
life.
I did, and I keep recommending it to other people, and I'm like, you need to push past what you think this game is, because it is not that.
Yeah, because the first hour is very painful. And then the rest of the game is also very painful, but in a very different way. For me, mine is a game that I feel like no one is talking about. I don't know anyone else who has played this game. The Sexy Brutale.
Sexy Brutale.
So this is a puzzle game where you're in a mansion and all these characters are dying and you need to figure out how to save them all. And the way that you do it is that the same time you're in this time loop that keeps resetting. And so you need to run around this mansion and affect things that stop these characters from dying. And every time you do it, you get like a new power from that character that helps you in the next section. It is such a brilliant idea, like just as a super quick, and it's not a spoiler because it's literally the first thing you do. There's a character who gets shot and you see this character get shot and you need to figure out how to save them. The way you do it is that you run into the room and replace the gun. You put blanks in the gun and you need to go find the blanks from somewhere else so that when that character pulls the trigger, there's not a real bullet in there. But the way that you do it is that the whole game is this clockwork, so it's constantly repeating the same thing. So if you miss the timings of this, that character has already come in here and taken the gun away. So if you run into that room, the gun's gone. You're like, no, I can't actually. Yeah, it's just so brilliant. It's got so much style, so much swagger, and it was just a total joy to play. I cannot recommend it enough. Please play this game because it's just beautiful, and I really wish more people knew about it. And hopefully now they do. Did you have any gems?
No gems, but I like the sound of those two. The game that clearly no one is talking about that I've been playing for quite a while now was the Stranger Things game on the mobile phone that was a tie-in with the TV series.
The VR experience?
No, it was like an 8-bit master, like a Mega Drive
I've
game.
heard that's quite good.
It was kind of fun. It was just that if you complete the game, you got a teaser for season 2, which is now well and truly finished.
Cannot recommend you play these two games enough, and it'll take you a total of 10 hours to finish them both. Like, it's so worth it. So, the next category is the Until Dawn Memorial Award for a game I thought would suck, but it actually turned out great.
For me, this was Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Only because, like, I'm not a huge fan of Rabbids.
Fuck the Rabbids, man. No one likes the Rabbids.
And the idea of Rabbids plus Mario in a kind of turn-based tower defense strategy type game just sounded heaps unappealing to me. And I didn't play a lot of it, but like it turned out awesome, was critically like adored by all. I mean, it was a huge surprise.
I totally agree. That's absolutely my runner-up. I thought that game was amazing. And again, yeah, like none of that should work. None of that should work together. Giving Mario a gun shouldn't work.
Yeah.
That's something that shouldn't be in a video game. Mine was Zelda. And it's not so much that I thought it would suck, but it's that I thought I wouldn't like it because I don't
Right.
like the 3D Zeldas, and I don't, I'm really sick of playing these open world games. So I was just very prepared to not enjoy this, to the point where I won't buy a Switch when it comes out because this is the only game that's coming and I'm not really interested in playing it. And then the day that the reviews dropped for Zelda, people were like, 10 out of 10, greatest game of all time. I started looking at some videos and stuff and I was like, oh shit, maybe this does actually feel like something I'm interested in, to the point where I walked for 2 hours in the rain with my dog to go buy a Switch because I was like, okay, now I definitely need it. And it turned out to be the greatest gaming experience I had all year. Phenomenal, and I did not see myself loving this game as much as I would.
Yeah.
And it sounds stupid saying Zelda would be a game.
You know what this tells me? This tells me that we have like zero faith in Nintendo.
That's 100% what this says.
That's 100%. If I had to pick one, it's the fact that like I had zero faith in the Switch to begin with. I was like, when was the last decent thing Nintendo pushed out pre-Switch? And I was like, I don't really want to know about this. But as soon as I've seen the Switch, played the Switch, I don't even own a Switch, and I've got the most brutal case of FOMO when you're talking about how good Zelda is. And you're playing even like Doom VFR. I'm like, that shouldn't work. And like, no, it's kind of cool. I'm like, what? Nintendo? How have you done it? What a 360 that was. What a U-turn.
I mean, Nintendo are definitely having the last laugh now, for sure.
It's just the best year for Nintendo. This is the next category, or second to last one, is boy, this... actually, I'm going to give the full title for this, because I'm very proud of this. Very proud of this title. Can't get you out of my head. Boy, this game is all I think about. Stephanie?
Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue is Stephanie's pick.
It's Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yes.
I'm not even going to qualify it. You know why, I'm obsessed.
You're obsessed?
I love it.
You're obsessed?
I love it.
Are you going to play it through a second time when you finish it with different choices?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm just enjoying... It's difficult to play at the moment. We play only on weekends because I have... 2 of the players are in Perth and 3 hours behind, and then the other player is in Canada. So really weekends are the best time that we can all kind of play at a reasonable hour.
Isn't it great to have that game that you return to in this way? Particularly a story game that's it's not like you're just having the same multiplayer experience.
But mind you, when we're not playing the game, we're all in a private Discord group talking about the game.
Is this a game that, Steph, if I were to buy now, would you create a new character and like hold my hand through the first like 5 hours?
I would, yeah, for sure. For sure.
There you go.
I'll hold you to that.
Mine is Doki Doki Literature Club. It's a game that just, it deals with so many issues that, again, like you said, it looks like a dating sim, but it deals with things video games never talk about. It deals with them in really interesting, disturbing ways. I think it's a super awesome game. It's super terrifying. It's very confronting. It makes you think a lot about yourself, the kind of person that you are, the kind of people that other people are. It makes you question a bunch of shit.
I would put a content warning at the front that if you're, I mean, the game itself has plenty of content warnings, but it's pretty distressing on a mental health perspective. So
yes, yeah.
Bear that in mind before hitting purchase.
Hitting purchase on the dating sim. And then the final category before we get to our top 5 for the year is the game that you just didn't get that everyone else loved. This is It's the Children Are Wrong category. For me, I've gone on record, it's Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't need to talk about it too much more. I went back to that game the last couple of weeks, put in about another 12 hours or something. I still don't get it. I'm still just finding it a slog and not particularly inspiring. And I think it's partly because it came out in a year where so many things were coming out that were doing so many radically new things.
Well, that came out around the same time as Zelda as well.
Yeah, so. It just doesn't really stack up when you put it against there. Yeah, so, but what about you?
Well, for me, it's Persona 5.
Yeah, right.
Which I know you love, and it was a major contender for Game of the Year across all of the various different awards.
Nearly snuck into our top 5.
Yeah, totally. But I mean, I've tried to play it, and I just find it infuriatingly slow.
Yes.
And painful, and just not appealing to me personally. So I respect that it's a lot of people's favorite game, but I just don't get it.
No, that's fair enough. It's fantastic, but that's fair enough. Miles?
It's Destiny 2. Don't get it. Don't understand why so much time and love and energy goes into that game in like monstrously large swathes. Like some dudes are like, I got 500 hours. I'm like, how have you done that?
That's so interesting because you and I are the same light level though. We're like both 283. You've put in a chunk of time.
I got there as quickly as I possibly could. And I was like,
I just don't believe you when you say all this stuff about Destiny because your actions don't correlate with what's coming out of your mouth.
It's true, because you don't go home at night and play Persona 5. You keep playing Destiny.
Last time I played Destiny was when we shot the thing. I just don't. I can't. I mean, but I want to play with Nick because
clearly lying.
It's just the it's the fun factor.
You teamed up with Ben, our producer, and did like
first week, yeah.
strikes and nightfall and stuff.
and Pete was there. And where were you, Nick? Huh? Are you just ignoring our notifications? Steph was there for a bit.
I was there for a bit.
You were just ignoring the invitations.
This man loves Destiny too. All right, cool. So, Game of the Year time. If we rank our top 5, most of these are games that we've mentioned. I'll go through mine quickly. Number 5, Doki Doki Literature Club. Play that game. Please play it, guys. It's free as well. Number 4, Wolfenstein 2, which didn't get a mention at all for anything else. For me, the gameplay was pretty standard. The level design was often quite shit and confusing. And the time to kill with the guns was quite long. It always felt like I needed to sink a few more bullets into every enemy than I needed to. But the storytelling was so amazing. The characters were so incredible. It was bold and brash and beautiful, and I loved that. Number 3, The Sexy Brutale. Play that game. Number 2, Super Mario Odyssey, which was just, so good and so close to tipping my number 1, which was Zelda Breath of the Wild. Steph.
My top 5, starting from the runners up to the Game of the Year, would be also Doki Doki Literature Club.
It made it because I thought that you would cut it for something else. It got in there.
It was just, and I guess because I've played it recently, so it's very fresh. And I should preface this by saying this is just my top 5 based on the games that I've played. I haven't played every game that came out this year, so this is just like...
This is objective.
Objective.
This is objective. This is the best games of the year, full stop. 5, Doki Doki Literature Club. Don't you dare qualify that with any of your this is only because I didn't play fucking Resident Evil 7.
Okay, so number 4 is Horizon Zero Dawn, which I know you're not a big fan of, but I just spent so much time in that game and I just really love the world and I love the protagonist and I think it's a really unique and interesting story as well. I just kind of,
You getting into that DLC?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. For me, number 3 would be Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. I would put it higher, except there was just some aspects of the level design that were a little bit repetitive and frustrating.
And you said that the combat was a bit grindy or something?
Yeah, it was definitely grindy. And number 2 is a game that didn't even make it into any of our categories or Game of the Year nominations across anything, but it's the Uncharted DLC, The Lost Legacy.
Oh my god!
Which I fucking loved. It was so fucking good. It's just hard to give an award to a kind of expansion of a game that like Uncharted has already won so many awards.
Yeah.
We know how great Uncharted is and how wonderful they do just about everything. And I love the performances and the relationship between Chloe and Nadine. It was so great, and I loved all the adventure and I loved everything about it. And I will play Uncharted until I die. So that's number 2.
And how telling is it of the amazing quality of this year that an Uncharted game came out? And it, like you said, it got skipped on pretty much everything that we spoke about.
Yeah. And of course, my game of the year is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Of course. Miles, your top 4.
I've got 5. I was holding out.
What?
I've been holding out. Number 5, it's going to be Destiny 2. Despite the fact that you guys tell me I love it and that I play it all the time, loudly and regularly, I just don't like it that much. But still, of all the games I've played this year, there had to be a loser, so it's Destiny 2.
Your top 5 list is from best to worst games of the year.
That I've touched, yeah, it really is. In at number 4, it's kind of new, so I can't really call it yet, but I do have a lot of hope for it, and I think it's going to be a brilliant game by the time the next one comes out, and that's called World War II. Played with issues at the start. I think overall as a game, as a multiplayer experience, it's very good, and competitively, it's pretty sweet so far. That, again, story mode kind of sucks, but that is irrelevant to me, but otherwise, not bad. In at number 3 is going to be FIFA 18, a game that I didn't enjoy initially, but once I reapplied that, with friends on the couch, my enjoyment level went through the roof. It all of a sudden became like a really, really enjoyable social game, something that I found with Destiny when I played with you and the other people behind the camera, but not Nick, because he never accepted the invites.
I have a baby. That baby needs to sleep.
Baby sleeps on your lap while you're grinding the engrams with your boys. Once I played FIFA with people, it changed it entirely, and it was so much fun. It was so enjoyable. That social aspect of a competitive game that you can play with people physically next to you and not have to be connected to the internet and playing at home. Beautiful. I was also winning, so in at number 2. It's fucking Dream Daddies.
Did you play that game?
I watched you guys play it, and I became obsessed with it. I was like,
so you played it vicariously.
100% vicariously. I was like, what is this game? And who made this? How is this so popular? And honestly, it's just me fanboying right now because your videos are so fun, and I was bitterly disappointed that you didn't get laid in the end. I was like, we came all this way. It was like the worst. It was heartbreaking. Anyway, that was the biggest plot twist of 2017 for me, was you guys not getting laid in Dream Daddies. And that's totally, I'm completely fluffing here. It's not a game I've played. So my top 4 first is, of course, PUBG. It's a masterclass in multiplayer experiences. It really is. We've ragged on about it enough. The only thing I can complain about PUBG, apart from the sort of like benign, crazy, racist maniacs who play it, is the fact that it's not finished. And it's so dirty around the edges and rough, and there are so many bugs. But again, for a game that is incomplete, oh man, it's gonna be so good. Fortnite's great. Fortnite is fine.
Fortnite is arguably the better game. I'm just gonna put it out there.
I think Fortnite in its lifespan will probably be better, but for a competitive player, like the way I like to play my games, it's just like, this is the difference between like the 2000 film Battle Royale, cult Japanese hit, and the Hunger Games. One of these is for children, and the other one is for...
The other one stars Jennifer Lawrence.
Good.
All right, well, those are our picks for Game of the Year and all those categories. Let us know what your guys' picks are in the comments for the categories. Your top 5 as well. We're super keen to hear about it. And thanks very much for hanging out. It's been an amazing year for games.
What a year.
What a year for games, guys. What a year.
We get to do it all again 2018.
We do! Yay!
I'm gonna break my personal best of 4.
Also, sorry for all the noise. They're ripping apart the set for the year. And it's also about 40 degrees in here.
I'll put this on Twitch.